If you do not know who I am, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Matthew Leffler. I am a lawyer, an adjunct law professor. I'm a board member, but I'm really somebody who never had a choice in this industry. Look, my grandfather fought in World War II. He was a tank commander. And when he left the service, he opened up his own trucking company. He was an owner-operator. The company was called Leffler and Sons. And what he did was he hauled grain throughout central Illinois. He grew that fleet to 6 pieces of power. Now, unfortunately, he ended up contracting polio, was in hospital for several months, and ended up losing the company. But he was able to eventually build back what he had done and became a mechanic. And that's kind of how my father got in the business, turning wrenches with his old man. Well, my dad graduated college in 1976. And when he did graduate, he went on to work at Roadway. That's pre-deregulation Roadway, by the way. One of the motor carriers that moved everything in this nation, CF, Roadway, and Yellow. And as my father would tell me, it was Yellow and CF who argued about who was number 2, because Roadway was always number 1. He still says if Roadway had remained independent, they'd still be making money. My parents are celebrating 50 years of marriage this weekend. 50 years. My mother could tolerate my father. That's incredible. Now, I didn't know a lot about supply chain when I was young. All I knew about supply chain was that it meant that my father was on the road half of the year. And I said to myself, I will never be in that business. I do not want to do that. But I never had a choice. I never had a chance. Here I am, 15 years after law school, still loving the industry that moves everything. If you love it, if it's in your house or at your doorstep or on the shelf, it came on a truck. Every single day, millions of men and women safely deliver freight on time and undamaged. It is orchestration at its very best. And this podcast is about celebration of that business. $1 trillion industry in the US alone. This is massive. You can't opt out of the supply chain. You're a part of it, whether you understand it or not. And that's why I do this, because there's something that you need to understand. If I can take interesting legal challenges or issues, or even just talk to people who make the supply chain work,